Did you know there are politicians and pundits who express shock over Volodymyr Zelensky's speech to Congress? Why? Because he said he refuses to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. It's like, come on, Zelensky, if you would just see reason and give Putin what he wants, then we would all return to normalcy, peace, and happiness. Is this the same Vladimir Putin who wants to restore the former territory of the Soviet Union? The same Vladimir Putin who took over eastern Ukraine and Crimea in 2014 and launched an all-out invasion to conquer the rest of Ukraine in 2022? The same Vladimir Putin who is responsible for tens of thousands of innocent Ukrainians losing their lives or homes or both to Russian artillery? The same Vladimir Putin who has deported Ukrainian children to be moved to Russia and raised as Russians. This is the Vladimir Putin we expect Zelensky to negotiate with? Really? If the past is any guide to the future, it's pretty easy to see what would happen if Ukraine falls. Putin would point out that there are Russians living in Estonia and Latvia. He would bus in agitators to stir up trouble, and then claim he has to send in troops to restore order and protect Russian citizens in these little Baltic countries that happen to be NATO allies. And if we decide to let Estonia and Latvia go because they're small countries, is it really worth invoking Article 5 of the NATO alliance for those guys? Then Putin would probably discover that there are Russian Orthodox Christians in Poland, and he would bus in agitators to stir up trouble, and then he would argue that he has the right to send in troops to restore order and protect those Russian Orthodox Christians in Poland. This has been done before, and with considerable success. Well, if it ever got to that stage, then we would be much more likely to find ourselves in a direct conflict with Russia, the threat of nuclear war stronger than ever, and we would be investing even more money than we are now, and we would be investing American lives as American soldiers would go into direct conflict with Russian forces. And we'd be missing those days when we could have beaten the Russian war machine in Ukraine, but just didn't have the foresight to give the Ukrainians the hardware they needed to finish the job. So if you're of the opinion that Zelensky needs to appease Putin, then maybe you owe Neville Chamberlain an apology.